And if this guy who made the show is actually like, it's actually capitalism that's bad, I'm like, it just goes to show this is a person who made a great show but was really dumb and didn't understand they were actually critiquing communism.
I honestly can't tell if it's a grift thing. He has to know, right? He's like, the show creator's so dumb. How could he not have known this is what communism is like? This has to be a fucking bit. Tim, buddy, my friend, I know you let me onto your very large skateboard park basement holding, estate a few times, but I'm afraid you've committed a crime. Hit new TV show Squid Game, actually a critique of communism, not capitalism as creator intended. Now, this actually got a pretty good ratio for a Tim Pool video. I gotta see it. I finally finished Squid Game last night. So, and by the way, I have to say, Squid Game is not actually subtle. It's not a subtle critique. It's actually very straightforward. There's not a lot of not a lot of analytic room to move your shoulders. Even Ben Shapiro, by the way, even Ben Shapiro acknowledged that it was a criticism of capitalism. He had his little bit on that. I mean, he was willing to bite the bullet on that, but anyway.
I want to talk about Squid Game.
Yeah.
We should talk about Squid Game.
Yeah.
What about it?
So I think Squid Game is, I don't think it's overtly political. Apparently, you were telling me, Gary, that it was like, there's like a political message in Squid Game.
Yeah, the writer, at least that's what he said.
My takeaway from it was communism bad. That was my takeaway from it. Okay, so now I'm going to say this. For those that are listening, spoiler alert, if you haven't finished Squid Game, it's an awesome
spoiler alert, you guys. Come on, spoiler alert.
Show.
Yeah.
I prefer watching it in the original Korean with subtitles.
That is.
I think it's fantastic. With the dub, you lose a lot of that like reverb and like natural sound. It's kind of weird. So spoiler alert. I'm going to say it again. We are going to spoil this show to
Kingdom Come.
To Kingdom Come. There we go. Spoiler alert. So what was it about? You mentioned that the creator had said something and it was like...
The creator called it a fable for modern day capitalism, but also for life and the competitiveness of life. And that message, it's not subtle at the end.
Tim thinks we live in communism, doesn't he? Well, to be fair, actually, according to the Republican definition of communism, the show might actually be a critique of that because they call literally everything communism, right? So the fact, like, for instance, South Korea actually normalizes wearing masks when you're sick, right? That's a pretty big thing, like in Asia. So over there, they might think like, yeah, dude, South Korea's communist too, because people wear masks when they have the flu.
Which I won't ruin for anybody, but it's not subtle at the end. And that messaging was there, and some people can't get past it, and I understand that, but I thought it was a damn good story.
But what was the messaging? Like, what do you think the message conveyed in Squid
Well,
Game
basically it's a cold and cruel system. There in that fable, there is no resolution except for at the end.
This is actually one of the things that I really liked about Squid Game. And again, spoilers if you haven't seen it, because I can't avoid spoilers on this. One of the things that I really liked about Squid Game that a lot of other people didn't like, because I saw people malding about it in all the threads discussing the final episode, was that it didn't have a happy ending. A lot of people really wanted a Hollywood ending where the protagonist, after all of the trials and tribulations that he had gone through, came out a better person, like he learned from his mistakes and came out better. The thing is, though, like, that's kind of not the point. This is something that really bugs me about a lot of these types of stories where, like, the protagonist goes through some horrible, unfair thing, but they come out stronger because of that. Is that what happens in real life? If you like take out a loan from like a loan shark or like from a predatory loan company and you like move hell and high water to pay it all back, are you a stronger or better person at the end of that? I mean, maybe, but probably not. You probably just suffered. So at the end, our protagonist hasn't really become that much of a better person. He hasn't learned or grown that much. He's just miserable, which is really fitting. And I think, if anything, that's a better refutation of the system that they're criticizing than it would be if he had like grown because of it. Because the capitalist argument is that, adversity is worthwhile because it makes stronger and better people. That's one of the arguments they make for the necessity of having people have to work to survive, That if everyone was just given things, if people were just given things for free, a welfare state, a UBI, then people would be lazy, listless, weak, unfulfilled. That's a really common conservative argument. But the counter argument to that is that making people suffer to live really does not make them stronger or better people.
They create their own enemy, quote unquote. But that's what I got out of it.
All right. Just for context, okay, because those of you that are sticking around, even though we told you spoilers are here.
Yeah, listen.
I'm going to give you the quick breakdown of the show. It's a bunch of desperate people in debt. And then all of a sudden they get an opportunity to play in a game. But the game is brutal and you die in it. But if you don't, you win. I think it's like equivalent of US like 35 to 40 million dollars is the translation. So it's like 45 billion Korean won or something. Now we're going to get into again, I warned you, spoilers. I think the whole thing is the perfect example of somebody who thinks they're opposing capitalism but just makes communism and wokeness look really, really dumb.
Wokeness.
And the show ends up being, in my opinion, more anti-communist than anything. So one of the big themes in the show is that everyone is equal.
No.
They all enter the game as equals, and they're allowed to play as equals. And there's an arc in the show where it's like somebody violates the equality, and so they kill him. And they were like, that's the worst thing you could have done is strip the equality. But now, here's how the show ends. You've been warned. In this equal system, everyone dies but one person who gets all of the money. Okay, so that doesn't sound to me like capitalism. In capitalism, we recognize not everybody is equal.
In the scene that he's describing, it is made explicitly clear that the reason why people are made to be equal in the game is to contrast the real world where people aren't equal. That's the point. The point is that the real world is biased, but in here, things have to be equal. That is explicitly the point. That the game show is meant to be a contrast to the inequality present in the real world. And hey, guess what? Again, spoilers, even that ended up not being true. Because 2 people survived Squid Game, didn't they? Chat, didn't they? And we know why that second person survived. Because he had a fuck ton of money. It wasn't equal. 2 people survived. One of them survived because they legitimately won, and the other one survived because they came in not as equal to everyone else. The whole point is that the Squid Game is supposed to be a temporary reprieve from the inequality of life under capitalism. And even in that system, even in that reprieve, overwhelming wealth and power still gives you a buyout from everything else. This could not have been more clear if you were being bashed on the head with it. I mean, this is as clear as it gets with regards to media analysis. This is as direct and unambiguous as you could possibly have a critique be. I have no idea where he's coming at from this. I mean, I don't know if he actually believes any of this shit.
Everybody does have an equal chance. We do want equal opportunity, but some people are poor and some people are rich. In this system, everyone is wearing the same clothes in the same room, being brutalized by the powers that ultimately result in one person having all the wealth and everyone dying. That is not capitalism. In capitalism,
the show... Hold on. First of all, you can make a pretty strong argument that it is. Second of all, the Squid Games are not themselves supposed to be the capitalism. They're supposed to be a reprieve from the capitalism that is itself a showcase of the desperation and inequality experienced by the poor. The games themselves are not supposed to be the capitalism. You're misascribing. This is the wrong... That's not... The whole thing is a critique of capitalism.
there's too much food. People are morbidly obese, and there are homeless people who are fat. In communism,
what?
Everybody wears the same clothes. They have limited access to anything.
Uh-huh. All right. Okay.
They get garbage food every day. They're like, okay, the game's over. Here's the food you get, and they get trash.
Yeah.
And they're fighting each other because they're starving. That to me is an indictment of communism. And if this guy who made the show is actually like, it's actually capitalism that's bad, I'm like, it just goes to show this is a person who made a great show but was really dumb and didn't understand they were actually critiquing communism.
It's like they.
Oh my god, dude! I honestly can't tell if it's a grift thing, guys. Does he know? He has to know, right? He's like, the show creator's so dumb. How could he not have known this is what communism is like? This has to be a fucking bit. This has to be a fucking bit, man. I cannot fathom the point of shows like Squid Game, and this is not the only show like it. For example, Squid Game is influenced heavily by Kaiji, which is an anime with basically the same premise. In Kaiji, the protagonist is a down-on-his-luck, indebted gambling addict who is, after racking up enough debt, given the opportunity by the mob to pay off his debt by participating in a series of high-stakes gambling games where he could potentially pay off his debt or accrue more or be sold into slavery or die. It's a really, 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 really good show, in my opinion. Not without its flaws, but I think that you see the theme, it's the same over there. The overall point in these shows is not, haha, it is the act of gambling which is capitalism, or haha, it is the competition which is capitalism. The point is that the poor are driven to the position where they would even consider doing something like this to escape their poverty. How many people started in Squid Game? 456 people. That's people entering this game. I mean, after they all left and half of them came back, you have what, 250 people? 250 people knowing that if they participate, they have a 1 in 250 chance at winning the prize. That's how little their own lives were worth to them. 187. That's how little they thought their own lives were. That's how unwilling they were to go out there and face down the suffering in the real world. And that's a thing that happens in real life, isn't it? That is a real ass thing that happens in real life. Think of all the things that desperation drives people to do. People commit crimes. People commit crimes to feed themselves. What kind of lunatic in this country, where our own prisons are recognized by the United Nations to be arbiters of cruel and unusual punishment, would commit crimes? Richest country in the world. People rob. People steal. People sometimes do it at very low odds, too. People shoplift, you know? And not shoplifting like when I shoplifted back when I was a kid, you know? Like, oh, I want this extra protein bar. Let's fucking go. Because I'm not going to get in trouble for that. But if you're a 40-year-old black dude, shoplifting could be your third strike, man. And people do it. People do that anyway. For nothing. In the real world, if the Squid Games existed in the form that they do in the show, every bit as brutal and bloodthirsty, people would do it. If gladiatorial arenas were a legal thing that people could commit themselves to, people would do it. That would be a thing that would happen. People agree to be suicide bombers in return for their families being paid. Holy shit. People sign up to militias in the Middle East. What is this? I'm actually asking, guys, what is the survival rate as a militia member in the Middle East? Any faction. I mean, we can talk, if you want to talk ISIS, the ANA, I don't care. It's not great, is it? But people will do it. And sometimes they do it, you know, out of a national pride, or they want to defend their families. And sometimes, honest to God, they're just trying to feed their family for a little longer. People are absolutely willing to throw their lives away for a bit of money. What about the medieval ages? Those old mercenary bands, you know? Those folks died all the time, but they would send whatever earnings they had off to their folks, to their loved ones back in some town or another, some village. They would try to come back. People are willing to die to claw their way out of debt. But it is not the act of fighting for that money that is capitalism. That's not the criticism here. The criticism here is that the desperation to do so is something which is brought about by the incentives capitalism creates. This was laid out very explicitly. There's a North Korean defector who traveled down south, who was asked, why'd you come down here? And she said, well, I thought it would be better. And then she was asked, is it? And she doesn't really answer. You could not be more clear with the point here. You could not possibly be clearer. Whatever, Tim. Hit me up, Tim. What do you got?
They took them out of a capitalistic system where they were doing pretty bad to a communistic system where they were doing really, really bad. And
it's a miracle that, like, whatever IQ dampening field is present in this place didn't affect me when I was there. Maybe it did. Maybe that's why the Vaush cognitive decline arc has been underway for a while now. Maybe it just hurts.
And we're executed by the state, which usually happens under communism.
The state?
I mean,
the state. They were the state. Okay, just
childish whims.
Exactly, and that's literally what happens under communism.
They were literally capitalists who had them sign contracts. You don't sign contracts with the state. The state just applies its laws to you no matter what. The compound they did Squid Game at explicitly you could argue that the Squid Games don't even violate the NAP, the non-aggression principle. They explicitly got contract signatures from everyone participating. Yeah, the whole plot point was that it's voluntary. None of this would be necessary if it was some kind of state autocracy, a private island controlled by wealthy industrialists, capitalist bankers, and venture capitalists, where the only way you can participate in an attempt to wipe out your debt is through a voluntary contract. This is an ANCAP stream.
Look up, what happened in China, what happened in Russia, what happened in, in Europe as well. So there's a long history.
Europe as well, dude. Look up what happened in Europe. Dude, in Europe, look what happened. It's like Squid Game in Europe. Remember when Squid Game happened in Russia? Who is this? I don't know. Probably an idiot.
There's a long context to people just being purged, taken away. Another very interesting aspect.
They weren't purged. They were approached by recruiters, and they signed contracts to pay off their debt. This wasn't state power. This was literally the practice of loan sharks. Did these people watch the show? It doesn't matter if they did. Poor media analysis is like the hallmark of conservative criticism.
Of that story is the masks that the very rich people were wearing were kind of similar to the same masks that the Rothschilds were pictured wearing at some of their private parties and galas a couple decades ago. So I saw that right away. I was like, wait, that's the elites doing this. And
what is just out of curiosity, because the Rothschilds were indeed wealthy and immoral people. What is this guy's name? I just want to know if this guy's echo posting. Does anyone know? Here's his website. Oh, hi, Progressive. Do you actually know Luke Rudkowski? Oh, maybe he is up on all the damage being done by the elites or whatever. Luke Rudkowski. We are change. Libs of TikTok. I just want to know if he's like a QAnon type, Yeah, maybe the YouTube channel would be a better indicator. Oh, damn, he's a big YouTuber. I didn't even know. Jesus Christ. Is this what I need to do to really make my channel pop, where every single title is clickbait? Wow, a new lockdown is coming and you won't believe the excuse. Holy cow, they're running from their own narrative. Chaos. Huge disruptions are here and getting worse. Whoa, Australia just made a shocking decision. Shocking. Secret military takeover happening right now. Buckle up. It's all crashing now by design. Bombshell. This is what's every single title. Holy shit. Like literally every single title is the worst kind of clickbait. Jesus Christ. Wow. Whatever. I don't care anymore. Give me the bad analysis.
I thought of the movie more of a critique about the ruling elites. Because it's essentially, again, spoiler alert, rich people coming together to watch the average poor people, struggling people kill each other over money.
Wait, hold on. This is the closest we've gotten to the point in a while.
You know, there's some important kind of parallels there. The movie, the series is kind of gory. So if you're sensitive to that stuff, I wouldn't watch it. I watched it. I was like, Tim, you got to watch it. You know, you're like, but you watched it, and it is very thought provoking. It is very emotional. And it definitely pulls at the heartstrings in many different ways.
I looked this up. Luke, you ain't kidding.
What is this?
There's a bunch of photos from this Rothschild's party where they're all wearing these masks that are similar to the Squid Game thing. Yeah. But that's probably what he was doing, the creator. Yeah. It was a guy, right, who created it? I'm saying.
Well, the story, I'm hearing a lot of different reports.
I'm pretty sure the media archetype that ultra wealthy people wear like masquerade ball masks to like wealthy events has been around for centuries, right? The idea like the ultra wealthy will like wear these super elaborate, that's a trope that I've been aware of for like a while. Yeah, Eyes Wide Shut. Didn't the Owls of Minerva, didn't even BioShock? I remember it. I think the first time I encountered that trope was from BioShock, where there was like an entire group of people who had these like elaborate like bunny masks or whatever. But I remember looking at that and thinking it was weird when I was a kid. But then later on, I realized it was kind of like an operatic trope that goes along with like ultra wealthy people. Oh, that's kind of cool. Oh, that's a really cool little. Why am I being blocked from opening fucking Etsy links? Is Etsy like a fucking Fisher site now? Jesus Christ. Yeah, stuff like this. I don't know. I mean, obviously the it was a masquerade New Year's party in BioShock. Yeah. Now, obviously, in Squid Game, the masks that they wear are look like this. Spoilers. But I actually really like these masks because the point of the ultra wealthy was that they were like stupid frat bros with like stupid gaudy obsessions. You know, like they didn't deserve their wealth. One trope that I really hate from like evil rich guys is that they're sophisticated. Have you seen what rich people act like? Have you listened to Zuckerberg speak? They're not sophisticated. They're fucking idiots, okay? They're douchey frat bros who are like choking on their own wealth. Their shit is gaudy as fuck. Have you seen what Trump's house looks like? Jesus Christ. So yeah, of course they would have these like awful, gaudy, like hyper-reflective like animal masks or whatever, you know? That shit, like, that works perfectly. That like, perfectly accentuates their fucking characters, you know? When they're all chilling watching the games, they're literally lounging on furniture made of like naked women. They're like the whole point is that they're gaudy. That's actually one of the reasons why I thought they were acted really, really well. The acted and written. The VIPs in Squid Game, because if you listen to them, their dialogue sounds really like stilted, you know, really like inhuman almost, like NPCs basically. And I some of the actors from that, they actually talked about it on Instagram, and apparently it was by design. Like they were deliberately written to be like stupid and kind of like it was meant to be a juxtaposition to the natural drama of the characters participating in Squid Game, right? Like all the contestants down fighting out there are like humans with like deep, oh come on, it's because the scriptwriter was a non-native speaker. No. That's not true. Don't assume that. There's a reason for this. When I heard it, at first I thought, oh, is this a non-native speaker thing? But then I realized that no, the 69 jokes, the fact that they kept repeating like the same dumb sayings over and over, it wasn't an accident. They were deliberately written to be like that. The point is that all the contestants down there are supposed to feel like, you know, a lot of pathos, like humans. The VIPs are supposed to feel like these really like almost like animatronic like NPC types who are like barely human, you know? Okay, here we go. Yeah, look. This is what one of the VIP actors posted on Instagram. Roughly 1/3 of the VIP lines were based on jokes, like the number 69. At one point, the director asked me to ad-lib a line. I said, can I distance myself from the guy who keeps making 69 jokes? Maybe ask another VIP something like, how do you know that guy? The director loved that. We were written as cheesy, callous man-children, and I think I pulled it off. But watching the show, there's a distinct difference in tone between the contestants' more soberly intense side of the story and the VIP's featureless boorishness. This distinction was not missed by some reviewers who praised every part of the show except the VIPs, which they loathed. But instead of the writing, it was our acting they tore apart. Like there's a way to drag a 69 joke out for 30 minutes that isn't hammy. Anyway, the hate cut me deep. Why are you hurting the actors? Why are you wounding them with your media analysis? They were doing exactly what they were told. I think they did a great job, personally. Yeah, it's meant to make them unlikable. And to be fair, they're completely unlikable. Like, they're basically objectively unlikable. It is impossible to like the VIPs. It is completely impossible to like them. Because, like, so often aren't villains like the cool ones? All the time in media, the villains are the cool ones. Like, all the time. It's like imagine if you had like Squid Game, but like the VIPs showed up and they all acted like Lex Luthor or like anime villains where they're like philosophizing and like, yes, like people would like them. But the point is that the rich aren't these sophisticated. They haven't earned their wealth. They don't deserve that shit, They are stupid, boorish, undeserving children. The fucking old man, the one who the Ganbo, his whole motivation for all of this was that he was just old and depressed and he just wanted to feel like a kid again. It wasn't a sophisticated philosophical, oh yeah, I wanted to Ganbo, thank you. It was just like, yeah, he's just like old and depressed and he wanted to do it again. I don't think he came off as sophisticated at all. I think he just came off as like a man child, which to me kind of slapped. I just think it was better. There was another Instagram post that I'm looking for right now that I can't find, unfortunately, because it was a really, really good one. It was talking about how one of the actors for the VIPs was reading over his lines, and he was like, "Is my character really that stupid?" And the director's like, "Yes," because initially the VIP actor was like, thought it was a mistranslation or something like that. Well, if anyone else knows what I am referring to, the Instagram post that I was talking about, then I would encourage you to post it. But apart from that, let's continue with the Tim Pool thing. Yes, I think the director is a smart cookie. That's my humble opinion on the director. Thank you. What do you think about the VIP being queer-coded and trying to rape the cop? I don't think it was as problematic as some people are making it out to be, but like there's a discussion on that. So you like the show? Yes.
Reports about this guy saying that he lost a bunch of teeth because of the stress during the production of this movie. I heard that he tried to get this movie done for years and it kept getting denied. So
the series, you mean?
Yeah, the series. But yeah, I remember seeing those masks, automatically thinking, wait, I saw these masks before. They're at the private gallows and private meetings of the super rich that already do take place when you do look at the very powerful people in our world that manipulate the system for their own personal benefit.
I'll put it this way. Capitalism isn't the problem. Communism doesn't exist. It's just this idealized system. We might as well call it unicornism. The real problem is corruption and corporatism.
Okay.
And the left says capitalism when they mean corporatism.
I think that's exactly the problem. I think that's what he's doing with the masks. He thinks that the Rothschilds embody capitalism. They do not.
No,
they embody elitism.
They're the biggest promoters and pushers of communism and destroyers of actual real free markets. Another interesting aspect was the fat guy. I mean, he looked almost exactly like Newt Gingrich. I talked to Newt Gingrich a couple times. I went up to him, asked him straight up to his face, "Hey, what did you do at the Bohemian Grove when you shipped in specifically male prostitutes?" And he was sweating up a storm. I did this like 5 times to him. He really doesn't like being asked those questions, but we got to understand here.
So this is something that I guess capitalists like to do really often, is this whole capitalism corporatism divide. The thing is, they're the same fucking thing. I'm sorry. When they talk about like, it's not capitalism, it's corporatism, then they go on to define capitalism like perfectly, like the exact same fucking thing. Some people will say that like lefties do that when we say that like Stalin isn't real socialism, like we're doing the same thing where we're distancing ourselves from the actual like idea. The difference is that there's nothing in Stalinism that really represents the ideology of socialism, right? But there's nothing in Squid Game that isn't capitalist. It's actually a direct, like, one-to-one. Like, there's not... The Squid Game island, the whole competition, the game show, whatever, even doesn't violate, like, the non-aggression principle. It fits perfectly within what... Like, what under capitalism wouldn't allow for what we're seeing in Squid Game, you know? To be fair, Stalin did kill rich people. Yeah, okay, well, so did Hitler, right? I mean, a lot of authoritarians killed rich people. It's just, it's not a, it's like very much perfectly in line with their ideology.
There is some level of reality when it comes to super rich people coming together in the middle of the woods doing very weird things. That does happen. It's called the Bohemian Grove. There's also other kind of secret society.
Okay, I'm sorry. How much of this is QAnon shit? Bohemian Grove, a campground belonging to a San Francisco-based gentleman's club known as the Bohemian Club. Is this like some Illuminati shit? The Bohemian Club is a private club with 2 locations, Union Square District in San Francisco and the Bohemian Grove, a retreat north of the city in Sonoma County. An elite invitation-only social club formed in 1872. Okay, yeah, so it's just going to be some Illuminati shit, okay.
And offshoots to these secret societies.
Remember when Bilderberg was a conspiracy theory?
Yeah, they said it didn't exist. They said it didn't exist a few years ago. And I was there at the meetings, be like, it's here, it's happening. They're like, no, he's crazy.
Remember when they sent that dude from The Guardian down and he was really angry?
Charlie Skelton, he came there to make fun. He's now my friend. Charlie Skelton was sent down there by The Guardian to make fun of the people outside. They sent him down there. He's like, there's a bunch of loonies, there's a bunch of crazies. He literally got followed everywhere.
Here's Reagan and Nixon at the communist Bohemian Grove. I don't know. This guy screams QAnon to me. Is he QAnon? I don't actually know. Watch Alex Jones break into the Bohemian Grove. Guys, people are so desperate to be the protagonists of their own conspiracy theories that they overlook the incredibly obvious ones. Why the fuck are these people so obsessed with like some weirdo fucking social clubs where people probably, I don't know, like hire gay prostitutes to fuck or whatever, but then they don't care about Exxon like stifling like climate change research for decades? There's so much shit there. It's like, it's so obvious, like the way people direct their time and energy and how clear their priorities are. Conspiracy theorists love to fixate on these like weird esoteric guys. Do wealthy people do fucked up shit in private? Yeah, of course they do. Fucking obviously. But 99.99999% of the harm that you can see wealthy people do is demonstrated in where they spend their money in publicly demonstrable ways. Okay? The real harm that the ultra-wealthy are doing is not in the fucking Bohemian Club. It's in the policies that they push for by supporting certain candidates and lobbying for certain positions, okay? The damage done through climate change is going to be exponentially greater than every fucked up thing a wealthy person has ever done in private times a million. It's like, the difference is so unfathomable. But, like, it's like what you focus on, right? I don't know. Just think it indicates a lot. This just comes off, it's more scandalous. You can throw more weird conspiracy-adjacent shit.
Assaulted by police officers. They raided his hotel room. Wow. They raided my hotel room. The police officers acted like the Gestapo against any journalist trying to do any real reporting against the Bilderberg group. And he came out of it shook, saying, hey, I thought these guys were crazy. I came here to make fun of them. These guys are honest. I'm being followed by police everywhere I go, and they're literally trying to arrest me for just trying to take a photo of David Rockefeller and Henry Kissinger walking down the street.
I don't know. I don't even know what we're talking about. Are we just...
was me the larger conversation of Squid Games.
But that's always the criticism is always the corrupt elites. I don't, when they talk about like, oh, communism, they never actually implement it because it's not possible. It's impossible to do. And then when they criticize, when the left criticizes capitalism, they're really...
Corruption wasn't even a theme of the show, was it? Like, the Squid Games were illegal, but corruption wasn't even a thing that they were taught. Like, that wasn't even a thing that happened. It was just wealthy people taking advantage of those with debt to sign contracts to engage in illegal, like, fucking... Yeah, the only corruption in the show was the organ selling, but that was against the rules of the game, too. It wasn't corruption, it was just self-serving elites.
Really just angry they're elites with centralized power, able to do really messed up things and get away with it because of how much power they've accumulated. That's not what capitalism is supposed to represent either. And the problem is, communism doesn't exist, right? They say that, like, every time they try it, they get some weird form of, genocidal authoritarianism. Capitalism, at its root, is just people with capital from their work can reinvest that into making more projects. However, in our current system, which mixes it, we end up with a lot of corruption. And then you get a left saying, aha, this proves capitalism doesn't work. And it's like, no, actually, the problem is the corruption. Yeah. I don't care who's doing it or why. Corruption, bad.
When you use the power of government to destroy...
Okay, I don't care. This is dumb as shit. All right. This is one of the reasons why, unfortunately, media allegory is a really, really difficult method by which one can criticize conservatism and conservatives. And it's largely because they are constitutionally incapable of recognizing criticisms of their system. This is one of the reasons why people can be conservative but still enjoy like so much media that is fundamentally progressive. It's because they don't understand it. Like Avatar: The Last Airbender. We've talked about that before, but Avatar: The Last Airbender is progressive on like a ton of axes, you know? And a lot of conservatives can just sort of smile dumbly and like nod their head because they just don't understand. Or Watchmen, or The Matrix, or like, yeah, there's a lot of shit like that, yeah. Remember when Paul Ryan said he loved Rage Against the Machine? Yeah, it's because he likes the sounds, you know? Just it doesn't listen to the lyrics. Yeah, just like bad media analysis, basically. Anyway, yeah, it's incredibly funny, but you know. Anyway, this one got ratioed, but probably not by Tim Pool's fans. The creator of the show is quoted saying it was a criticism of capitalism, and people are like making fun of Tim Pool in here, but I don't think these guys are Tim Pool fans. I think they're probably like brigaders or whatever. From that excellent tweet that I threw out there, you know, making fun of him. Watch this sometimes, Vaush, just for the memes. The dark secrets inside Bohemian Grove. If there were any, like, what dark secrets are, like, what's the, how juicy does it get? So Alex Jones broke in. Like, what is it? What, they find like a kid being sacrificed or something? If they did, I probably would have heard about it. What was the good stuff? Just skip to the end. Give me the spoilers. Just doing a ritual, okay? LARPing and frat boying in the woods, that's all. That sounds about right, yeah. Just some dumb ritual performance. Yeah, that's what they always do. Dude, wealthy people are desperate to find some kind of greater meaning in life outside of the wealth they've accumulated. They feel empty inside because all the wealth in the world doesn't make them feel like any more complete of people. So they desperately cling on to whatever rituals and ceremonies they can build around them because they are looking for some way of capturing. And thank God, because if they can't find meaning in that and they realize that fact, then they're going to go ahead and try and find meaning in the Squid Games, okay? So that's the summary, all right? We should be happy that the Bohemian Grove exists because it's only because they haven't caught on to the fact that they can get that same sense of meaning watching poor, indebted people compete for money. That's like, it's like you know, like the struggle for meaning goes further and further down. To be fair, it's impressive that Alex Jones gets in. I guess. I don't know the circumstances. I mean, it's just like a private club, right? I mean, I don't think they could just like shoot you for breaking in, depending on the circumstances, right? They're probably like guards and they'd be like, hey, stop. I don't know. This shit gets talked up so much.